and welcome to a brand new episode of Audio Inside Scoop. As you guys may have seen, I just made the transition from small portables and started adding some party boxes into the mix. To start, we dove into the Klipsch Vegas, and in short, I absolutely love that thing, and I'm super excited to dive into the Miami next. That said, it is going to have to wait until next week. After I launched the Vegas video, I was able to get into contact with a very special individual, and he agreed to come on the show and talk more in depth about the brand new Party Series speakers. That special guest, Mr. Roy Delgado, Klipsch's principal engineer and the man behind much of the design and engineering of the party boxes themselves. So let's open up that call and bring him on here. Welcome to the show, Roy. Thank you so much for joining us. It is a
No problem,
pleasure and
brother.
a privilege to have you. First off, I know who you are and how huge it is to have you on this project, how huge it is to have you in these party speakers. But for those watching that may not know who you are, what do you do for Klipsch?
Um, I don't know yet. I've been with Klipsch almost 40 years. I guess I do speakers. I've been doing speakers for quite some time, and still haven't gotten it down yet.
I'd say you've gotten it down pretty well. We've got a lot of amazing products that we've seen come through from you personally, a lot of them.
There's always learning going on. That's one of the things that Pop Klipsch always taught me was I was I was we just hired a new engineer, and I took him to meet Paul, and the engineer told Paul that he was really excited to be there, that he wanted Paul to teach him everything he knew about speakers because he knew that he knew it all, and Paul, as usual, just kind of paused, looked away, and said, well, "I'm still learning."
And you've kind
And
of
he was
adapted
like
that
85 at
mentality.
the time. He was like 85 when he said, I looked over at Paul and I went, "Oh wow, okay."
Always forward momentum, always something new to add into the lineup
Hmm.
there. So
Yeah.
how did they talk the principal engineer? You didn't mention your title, principal engineer, right? Is that what it is at the moment? And
Yeah, I think so. I think principal engineer, I engineer principles.
and how did they get the man behind the current generation of Clipshorn and Forte and all of that and all of the Pro Series stuff as well? How did they get you into a party box?
It's really not that. It didn't take much convincing. I mean, to me, any project it should have, it's going to have clips on it. I mean, I have an idea what that should be, and quite honestly, I don't have any problem getting involved in any kind of project at all. I was kind of pumped about it because I'd never done one of these before. And so I took it as an opportunity along uh, with with my guy Jesse to kind of learn a different aspect, different kind of animal, but obviously it's still a speaker. And so we know the basics of that. And then the other part was just the learning part was trying to use the tools that we were given in order to get the DSP and all that stuff down. So to me, yeah, I learned a lot from it.
Was it a pretty fun project for you then?
Oh yeah. I mean, and quite honestly, I mean, it's like Jesse says when we get into certain designs and stuff, he always reminds me, this is the fun part. And so to us, you know, uh, getting into the party speakers, this is the fun part. I will tell you that I did quite a bit of it from South Texas. I made a little lab here. Me and Jesse were exchanging data and stuff. And I will tell you that my nieces and nephews were a lot more interested in these speakers than the other speakers I've done because they're speakers that they recognize.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact, I got a lot of their opinions on what they thought, you know, because they knew some of these speakers, from particularly from JBL.
Yeah, yeah. And did they you mentioned like the new constraints and everything like that that you had to work through, like when you're developing a Klipsch horn, you got all this space to work with. When you compress it into a smaller box, say the Vegas or even the New York, it's significantly smaller than a Klipsch horn, obviously. What kind of issues do you run into when you're downsizing these concepts and trying to put them in this smaller container?
Well, to me, it isn't so much about downsizing them. It's more about expectation. I know that certain aspects of the speaker are going to be clipped, period. And so then it's the understanding of uh, how low is, this is as low as it's going to go. We can maximize that. Um, and of course, these speakers had fresh, Tractrix horns designed for them, and we incorporated the white dispersion phasing plug that we use on the Heresy and the Forte and stuff only because, and this is what I've told some of my friends in the past about when they ask about how do we know certain technologies are for real, and I said, well, if they continue to use them, then they probably meant something. Um, if every new speaker, as one of the ads that Paul worked on a long time ago says, "Oh, it's a new revolution, right?" But they don't continue those revolutions in their speakers, right? Or new evolution.
Yeah.
Um, so so we know that tech works, and this was a perfect use of it. And and of course, we know that titanium drivers that we wanted to use. I mean, to me, the new part was okay. It's an amplified speaker. It's a DSP. The software. So to me, the limitations come with the software, not so much with the speakers. We know that a 5 1/4 two-way is only going to get this big, this
Mhm.
loud, right? And to me, as you go up the line, the bandwidth increases and the amount of headroom you get increases as well too. So so to me, I mean, we've done a KG1, which is a 6.5 inch two-way. Um, we've done, some smaller KI stuff. So again, it's that particular tech about how those speakers, how we design the woofers, compression drivers, horns, and um, wasn't the wasn't the part I worry about because it's going to carry the same DNA. It was okay, what chip are we using? What's the software? And I had to learn, and for an old guy, it took me twice as long, just like in the old days, um, to learn a piece of software, how it works, what its limitations are, and then trying to use that to not let it get in the way so much of what the speaker is supposed to do. So that's really and again, since it's a powered speaker, another consideration, at least that I look at, is how do we use the DSP, the compressors and stuff, in order to make sure that you don't blow the amp and you don't blow the speakers,
Oh, yeah.
because in a non-powered speaker, it's totally in the hands of the user, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, I guess they're trusting us. Uh, that's a bad assumption. They're trusting us to kind of get what we can get out of the speaker before it kind of self-destructs. So that was another challenge for us too.
So they're cranking it and they don't overdo it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a designated driver, right? When you start drinking too much and you turn it up, we take care of that for you.
That's a good example. Uh, so you mentioned like that it has the same phasing plug as the Forte and the Heresy. How similar is the horn that you guys have incorporated to the Heresy or the Forte?
It's it's probably it's more akin to the Heresy mid-range horn. Um, we were mostly interested in controlling the horizontal, trying to keep it as wide as you could get it, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then because in the vertical, You want to get, some, nice coverage pattern in the vertical, but um, if you're going to be if you're going to be outside in the beach, you're going to be, camping, whatever, you're not really worried. You're not really worried so much about, the horizontal being trying to cover as much as you can. Since you're further away from the speaker most times, you're going
Hmm.
to be in the coverage pattern of the horn anyway. And so, in order to cheat on the on the sensitivity, we can keep the vertical not so wide as like the horizontal. I think the horizontal is like 100 or something like that. I forget. But and then it was this Diapolito. That's another way to cheat about trying to keep your directivity in front of you. So and not waste energy, basically.
Now, with that, I did make a mention. One thing that I noted in the Vegas video was that it does have feet on the side of it. And I was
Yep.
like, you got feet on the side, so you can turn it on its side. How wide do you get on the side then, with that horn being more designed to be dispersed horizontally? Then you turn it on its side and it's dispersed vertically at that point. How wide do you get when it's on its side?
I think it's like 35 degrees, maybe.
35 degrees. Okay.
Yeah.
So if
So
on the
yeah.
Vegas, I don't think it's as big of a deal because it's only a couple inches more on its side as it is tall. But
Hmm.
on the Miami and New York, people are going to be potentially tempted to turn it on its side, but you're going to lose some coverage when you turn it
Yeah,
on its
in the
side there.
horizontal particularly, yes.
Yes.
Now, yeah, and you know what? And we put those feet there, honestly, from my perspective, it's just because we could. You
Yeah.
know, I wouldn't necessarily encourage anybody to take a Miami or a New York, which are making it start getting a little heavy, to put them on their side.
Yeah.
But you can if you want, you know.
Well, you can do that for
But
transport,
this
so it
is
doesn't
America,
mess up the
man.
pretty logo on the side. You got the feet there to protect the logo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
you mentioned that forward facing, everything forward facing. I feel like that brings us to the ports. The port design
Oh
is forward
yeah.
facing as well. So, can you tell us a little bit about the ports on them?
Well, that kind of was a little bit of a artifact from designing permanent install speakers.
Hmm.
Um, we started off because, I am a bonehead of the first degree. The way in the beginning we were designing, these permanent install speakers and we were porting them out the back. And I began to question that because I'm going like, you don't have a boundary. And since the low end comes directly out of the ports. At that point, at tuning, the woofer is hardly moving. It's the ports that are at your actual base radiators. You can imagine little diaphragms trying to move. Um, so I we made that change on the KI series. They all have the front ported because you want that initial attack, right? You don't want that attack going away from you. Although bass is supposed to be omnidirectional, there is a directionality to it.
Yeah,
And so we had kind of already learned that in permanent install. So when I saw what had been proposed, I said, well, the first things we're going to do is move the ports to the back because it makes a difference when you're out there. And you just have it like let's say you have it on a table and you're at the beach, the bass lacks if it's going away from you. You want it to be coming towards you. You want the wavefront to be coming towards you. And so that's the first thing. One of the, for the IDs is I said we got to do the ports in the front.
that makes sense. It's the only party box that at least that I've seen that has the front port. So it
Yeah.
seems like everybody else is relying on a rear wall or putting it in a corner or something to that effect to try and get that same bass response that you guys are shooting straight at you.
Well, like when when we had people listening to them, um, my boy Ryan, I would always tell him, listen to it outside. Don't listen to it in a room
Yeah.
because this is not a room speaker. Go listen to it where it's going to be played, because then you'll really notice how the front ports load. and then in conjunction with the woofer as a pass information back to each other and the other way. So so it's like when we design the permanent install speakers, listen to them outside, not in our listening room. We listen to them outside, perched up on some sort of platform, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where the sound quality, the sound, the sound guy, when they got him installed and he's playing them, that's how he's going to judge the sound quality right there.
Yeah. And permanent install, we're talking like concert venues and that type of deal.
Yeah, or at a church or in a bar.
Yeah.
Those are mounted. They're really not really loaded. They're hung from a ceiling, and they're kind of out there by themselves, right?
Yeah.
And so, and it also, as a consequence, we also make sure that understanding how they're going to be used, we make sure that 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 frequency response relates to that's going to be the normal positioning when these speakers are going to be auditioned. If they do put them on a stage or they put them on the floor, yeah, they're going to get more bass. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you don't want them to lack bass when you put them where they're supposed to be. 80% of the time they're going to be hung up. And so that was also the case on the Vegas. The Vegas, when we listened to the Vegas against the Miami, I always envisioned the Vegas off the ground,
Yeah.
not not on the ground, on a table, on a chair somewhere, right?
On a
And
pole
because
mount.
I wanted to keep the 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 sound signature of these three speakers, obviously, like Klipsch, but also they're a little family. And all we wanted to do was in these three speakers, we wanted them to sound the same. You're going to go lower as you go up, and you're going to get more output as you go up.
Yeah.
And that's really, I guess, the recipe for me because once I liked the way the Vegas sounded, then I compared it to the Miami, and I put it on the chair. I didn't put the Vegas on the floor. The Miami is meant to be on the floor, so is the New York. And actually,
Mhm.
I went back to the because we're talking about the me having the I'm learning this DSP packages. What are the limitations? How can I maximize what I got in order to affect the sound of the speaker the least? In other words, I don't want them to be obtrusive. I don't want them to dictate and set limits on the speakers, right? Because we designed the woofers and the horn and compression driver as their own units. In other words, if I wanted to use that horn tweeter and compression driver in another speaker that's not powered, then I want it to sound good like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to count on the fact that I'm going to have to EQ it, that I EQ'd it in the Vegas and now I can't use it over here because there's no way I can EQ it because now it's a passive product.
Yeah.
So they have to stand on their own. It doesn't matter how you power them. And so as I went through the DSP process, me and Jesse we were pulling our hair out. And I don't know if you've seen Jesse, but yeah, he has more hair than I do, but he's catching up.
Yeah.
And and we did the Miami, and I learned some tricks on the Miami. And I got better at the software, and then I learned some tricks on the New York. And since the Miami wasn't that far behind, I was, kind of updating them and asking for firmware updates on both at the same time because I was learning these tricks. Well, we thought we had the Vegas done until I learned these tricks. And then I made the mistake of telling Ryan Hansen, you can write him a clip and tell him he's a bonehead for me. I made the mistake of telling Ryan that um, you know, I when I get some time, I want to come back and I want to do one more firmware update on the Vegas. Well, he tells everybody. And so now it becomes a Roy's lazy. He doesn't want to get off his butt and do this. Yeah, I become the bottleneck, and I told her I'm never gonna tell you nothing again, brother. So
Oh,
so we updated it and with this new firmware that I was very pleased with. And that was just because we learned. It's kind of funny because it happened with the Forte 3. We did the Forte 3, right? And then we went into did the Heresy 4 and the Cornwall. And we did some stuff there that I wanted the Forte 3 to come back, but I wasn't sure if it was enough to justify a rev. But when we did that, and I heard it, I said, yeah, this justifies the revs. And that's what we did the Forte 4. But it was the one that started the other guys. And then we came back and revved the Forte after we had learned stuff.
yeah.
And
Well,
and
what
like I
is
said, to me, it isn't party boxes. To me, it's a speaker. We got to do the best we can with it.
Now, you mentioned the source of power. Is there a difference when it's plugged in versus when it's not?
Yeah, it is. And I did not understand that. Um, because I always thought that plugged in or not, there should be no difference. But apparently, um, when you plug it in, I think there's like a 2 dB increase yeah, on every speaker if
Hmm.
you plug it in because it recognizes a higher power supply. It disengages from the battery and goes to an actual power supply.
Okay, that's interesting. You said
Yep.
that's
Well,
it
well,
was.
well, and apparently we're not the only ones that do that. That's one of the things that I don't um I don't like to do um because JBL does it. This other guy does it. They do it. I'm like, yeah, but doesn't mean we have to. You
Yeah,
know, doesn't it's like them.
we're our
They
own speaker.
yeah. I mean, so anyway, apparently that would have required a totally different bomb and totally different price structure.
Yeah.
So, and
Well,
since
I
I
did.
wasn't since I wasn't willing to pay for it myself out of my own pocket, I guess that this is what we got.
Well, I mean, like you said, it's designed to be not listened to in a room. You pick it up, you take it everywhere you go with you. So you're not going to have a power supply pretty much anywhere you go. The power supply is for charging it. I didn't get a Vegas to sit in my room and listen. I have speakers that are plugged into the wall for that. Uh,
Now, compared to other speakers, when they're in battery, in battery mode, we definitely you can tell it's a Klipsch. So even in battery mode, compared to other speakers, you can tell it's a Klipsch.
yeah.
So and we can take advantage of the fact that we are, more efficient and stuff like that. So our biggest problem was probably LEDs. We had a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we have a battery life with or without LEDs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
what
I
it's made
thought
for.
LEDs didn't suck up much power. I think somebody's conning us, bro.
Right? Yeah, it's like what is it, 8 hours versus 12 hours or something like that. So
I
it's
think so,
huge.
yeah.
It's huge. So that would be the one reason to plug it in a party is to power the LEDs.
Yep. And let your electric bill get really big.
Yeah. So
Can you
I do have
imagine if we had incandescent lamps, bro? Oh my gosh.
to just this yellow light on the front of it.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about other brands and everything like that. How does it compare to what's the difference between say a JBL and a Klipsch and what differentiates these party box lineup from everything else on the market? What sets them apart?
Um, I think um I think like our other product, it's gonna be the sound quality. The drums are gonna sound different. Guitars are gonna sound extra crunchy. I mean, that's I don't care what segment of the market that speaker's in. Um, you can't change that. That's what you get while using a
Yeah.
horn. I mean, it is that snappy, like effortless, you know, trying to get that live sound feel in your face, without parting your hair. And so that part, I mean, it comes with the package with Klipsch. And why? I mean, that part that Paul Klipsch talked about, horn loaded, inversely, efficient. If you make it more efficient, the lower distortion you get, and that part doesn't go away. That's still part of the DNA, and why we, obviously, even party boxes get a horn because you know if you don't put a horn there, it could be Roy Delgado's Emporium speaker, and not
So,
just any horn, a well-designed horn. Paul hit me in the head a couple of times over that.
how does it compare to you got Klipsch had a party box a little while ago, the Gig XL and the Gig XXL. How does it compare to those guys?
Well,
I've heard them
um,
both, and me personally, I think it's a brand new beast, but I want to know from your
well,
perspective.
yeah, and it should be. It should be a brand new piece. I don't know the history of those speakers, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
I will say that I got a Gig XL and I updated it. I put a 4.5 coaxial horn loaded woofer tweeter combo in it, and I put my own network in it and moved and they redesigned the port. And yeah, it sounds a little different now.
I bet, yeah.
But I, yeah, I mean, I don't know, honestly, don't know why we went in that direction. I mean, um, I will say it's a totally different animal because once we decided to horn load the speaker, it changes it back into, and again, a well designed, and of course, in the vein of Klipsch designs, horn Klipsch design horns,
Hmm.
uh, that it's going to carry that characteristic. And I'm not talking about characteristic of sound. I'm talking about characteristic of impact of sound. That's what I'm talking about.
And they sound good.
Yeah, they sound all right.
The Vegas anyways. I'm gonna go ahead and move into the Miami next.
Sure.
When we go from the Vegas to the Miami to the New York, I think on the Vegas to Miami we get same horn, same driver. It's just double the low frequency driver. Was that correct?
Hmm.
And then to the New York, is it the same horn and compression driver and it's two bigger? No? What are we looking
It's
at
a
with the
bigger
Miami
horn. It's a bigger horn on the New York,
on the New
and
York?
it is 8-inch woofers. Um, when I went into this project, there were certain things that were already a given. Okay,
Hmm.
and the back ear volume of these things, the Miami, they had 6.5s in it, and the 6.5s, if we had tried to stick with those, it would have it would one or two things had to happen. If I stick with the 6.5s, we got to get a bigger box to even get close to the tuning of the low end tuning of the Vegas.
Hmm.
But if we stick with 2 5 1/4s, and it's more than twice the volume of the Vegas, then we're going to get the output, and we're going to go lower than the Vegas.
Hmm.
So those are my two choices to the guys was 6.5s, bigger box. 2 5 1/4s, we go lower, um, and we get the output we're looking for at that price point. So that's why we went 5 1/4s.
Yeah, and the footprint on the Miami, it would be how much bigger would we be talking versus if we went with 6 1/4s?
If we had gone with 6.5s, we probably talking about at a minimum 20% increase in volume.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said 8 inches in the New York?
Mm-mm. And I
Okay.
wanted to put 15s in that sucker. No, I'm kidding. And we actually spent a lot more time on the woofers for the 8-inch woofers for the New York. Um, I mean, it we used our now don't get me wrong, the we collaborated a lot with the maker of the woofer. I made changes like for example, something like pole venting. When a lot of people think that when you put a hole through the core of the woofer, if you look at the back of the magnet structure, right, there's a hole that goes through the core, and then you can see kind of the dust cap. Now, a lot of people think that's for cooling. I guess it can be, but what I use it for, it relieves background pressure so that as it gets nearer resonance, then the woofer doesn't have to struggle against that back pressure so much, so it can move freely. And that increases anywhere from dB.5 to 2 dB in the actual ported region because now it doesn't have to move, or it doesn't have to fight itself. So you get more SPL at those frequencies. And
Okay.
so there were things that we said, no, I want more X Max on this. So it was a collaboration. With certain things that I couldn't change, but there were some that I could. And so the woofers ended up being basically designed by Klipsch. On the eights, I spent a little bit more time with the eights, and it actually was based on a woofer of the PSM 800s.
Oh, now, see, I haven't even ordered the New York yet. I've got the Miami and the Vegas, and now you got me. I'm gonna order it tonight. It's gotta happen. You got
Well,
me in.
it just depends on what level you want to get to, right? I mean, I personally, I'll have Vegas, with me for certain things, like I want to go fishing or whatever, right? Um, I'm having a barbecue. I probably have a Miami. If I invite my rowdy brother-in-law, then his name's Ruben, by the way. If I invite him, then we're going to New York.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got the kids' birthday parties that were power, and you got to make sounds over the bounce house, the bounce
Oh
house
yeah,
band. Gotta have the big boy for that.
yeah.
Well, that was a ton of information. And I heard the Vegas. That made me more excited to hear the Miami. Talking to you, I'm going to hear the Miami. I'm going to be more excited to hear the New York. I'm just excited to dive into all these together.
Well, yeah, like I said, I had because I was playing with me and Jesse would listen to all three at the same time. Just wanted to make sure that it fit as a family and it fit what we think. Because you know what, and kind of gets back to the XL and the XLL, whatever it was called. It doesn't matter, at least to me, and I think to to all my bros in India, and I know in the Hope Lab, um, a speaker is an an acoustic device, right?
Mhm.
And it it requires some acoustic science. So sometimes I've heard this phrase, well, I don't want it to become a science project. I said, well, then mm, what are you going to do with it then? Because if you're dealing in acoustics, it automatically is. And if you give a crap, um, that you're or if you're worth a crap, you're going to make sure that you design the best product you can. It's going to be an acoustic, it's going to be a science project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but to us, I quoted Jesse earlier, that's the fun part. That really is the fun part. People ask me when I'm going to retire, and I go, why? I really like what I do. Why? Do you know something I don't?
Huh.
Now,
Now
I've
I
been
have.
blessed to be here almost 40 years, and so. I don't know, bro.
Never, never retire.
Yeah. I
Keep them
mean, no,
coming.
I know where all the bodies are buried. So
All right. Well, thank you so much, Roy. That was amazing, and I feel like I know so much more about these speakers. Diving
good
into the
because
mining. What's that?
I said good because I don't.
Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for having this meeting with me. I'm sure
Sure, no
this is
problem.
exactly what a lot of people are looking for about this product is just getting more information because there's not a whole lot out yet because it just released. So getting this information is really important out there.
Sure, no problem, man. Appreciate you, brother.
You too. Thank you.